So I've been pretty happy with all the changes that have come with the recent patch, as well as the 2 live streams talking about all the new stats, all the new, uniques, and everything that's coming with season 2, right? If you all remember back in season 1, 4 days, 5 days before the season start, which is where we're at now with season 2, everyone was running rampant about how poor the patch was, including myself. I did not like that patch, and no one was really excited about diving into season 1 with that information that we're basically all going to get mega nerfed. But season 2 is promising to be a little bit different, where we're going to be able to develop our characters vastly different because of all the stat changes, as well as kind of different motives for building different builds in the game. So a lot of variety is being included. But don't mistake that for being a different game. And I see this a lot where people are like, hey, I would like X content in the end game to kill X boss to get X loot. Or I want to have some sort of raids or woodcutting or insert whatever mechanic that typically belongs in an MMORPG here in Diablo 4. Not to say that they shouldn't add this, because I personally have found that those are mechanics that I really enjoy. I would love to see it in Diablo 4. But Diablo has always been, in all the iterations of it, a game about killing monsters. That is the focus. Now, will we see these things perhaps in vastly future versions of the game? Maybe. We might see fishing. I mean, Diablo Immortal has it. Who knows, right? But for season 2, we're looking at gameplay updates for the way you actually play your character, build your character. And when you consider content in the game, well, you're looking at basically another glorified Malignant Heart, as well as a couple of new bosses that aren't really spam farmable as far as we know. And even if they are, that's not really any different content. It's just going to be the same content over and over and over again, which is kill the same boss over and over and over again. And then in order to get to that boss, you have to kill the same Nightmare Dungeon or Tree of Whispers over and over and over again to get the loot or keys so you can actually farm the same boss over and over and over again. I don't know if you see a theme here, but it's killing the same bosses, same monsters over and over and over again. In terms of engaging endgame content, that's not really coming to the game. You're not really going to see these things that perhaps exist for whatever reason. People enjoy, maybe Diablo 3 or PoE more so than the endgame content in this game. To me, we're not going to really see those mechanics unless there's core changes to the loot system and a lot of other things that go along with Diablo 4, like perhaps their open world mechanics and how you actually level up and all that good stuff. What you're going to get from this is, hopefully, again, who knows what we'll see in 2 weeks from now, but from what we've seen in the changes, different ways to build your characters, different ways to interact with your builds. Hopefully, new builds are going to be coming around, and I've already kind of experimented with the rogue myself, which I'm pretty excited about. These things are just temporary. Play the season, enjoy the builds, enjoy the different aspects of building up your character. And if you still continue to enjoy that, great. Play all the way through, play the entire season, get to level 100, spam farm the bosses, get your uber uniques potentially, and then do whatever you want. No problems with that. Heck, I may even do that if I find the game extremely fun. We'll see when I dive in back for season 2 here. But for those of you that are looking to do other things inside the game, have I got a recommendation for you all, guys. Here's old school RuneScape skill tree, right? You have so many different options. You could go fish in that game. You can go mining. Hey, you could cook the fish that you collect. You could go and smelt the ore that you mine. You can go out and do quests with actual storylines to them across the entire world. You can go farm crops. Maybe you want to craft a bow, or maybe you want to bury some bones, all of which is doable. Same thing applies to basically every MMO out there. There are other things to do, such as raids, new quest lines. You may not be able to do mining, agility, whatever you want to do in old school RuneScape, but there are games like Guild Wars 2 where you have mounts, right? These are kind of the games that people are looking for when they consider a lot of the content they're looking for, right? I see a lot of people coming from Lost Ark. Hey, why don't we have raids? Why isn't it like Lost Ark? That game is entirely different. You're committed to building a character over time, and Diablo is mainly focused on a short explosion of enjoyment at the beginning of a season, and then for you all to come back next season. So the core is, hey, we want you to enjoy your leveling process. We want you to enjoy the gear grind, as you will be repeating it every 3 months if you decide to play. Because all the builds that you're creating with this current season, guess what? As soon as that season's over, all your builds, if you're using the seasonal mechanics, are going to be completely moot, because you're not going to have those advantages when you swap over to the Eternal Realm. Of course, some things will follow on with all the different changes coming, and some things will not, but you're not going to get this constant progression for your character. So if that's what you're looking for, you're just not going to find it. It's just not here in Diablo. Maybe, as I said, in 2 years from now, we're going to be able to go fishing and we're going to be able to cook the fish. Maybe that's going to happen. But right now, that is just not in the game. So just enjoy it for what it is. It is kill monster, get loot, improve your character. And there are a lot of fun things you can do with that this season. You're going to have the new endgame bosses that you can attempt to kill, as well as target farm certain unique items, with Duriel being the ultimate endgame boss where you could potentially target farm your uber uniques. You're going to be able to go ahead and interact with the Season of Blood new Helltide zones. You're going to be able to go ahead and climb your way to level 100 with different builds and different buckets with damage, allowing you to experiment a little bit more rather than just every single build, hopefully, still running vulnerable. Hopefully, we're going to have something a little bit different as we're going through our leveling process and eventually to the end game. That is what you're getting in Season 2. A different way to play the same content over and over and over again. A different feeling. It's still the same content, though. So if that doesn't appeal to you, then it's probably not worth diving into the game expecting that it's going to give you that at a certain point. You're just going to be killing the same monsters over and over again, and eventually your build's going to be pretty strong. You're going to be able to experiment with it, kill some bosses, and then that's going to be kind of the end of the content, unless you want to grind to level 100 and grind and min-max your gear. I'm going to be diving into it. I'm going to be trying to kill all the bosses. I'm going to try to get my Uber Unique for the first time in Diablo 4, because now supposedly it's supposed to be droppable. These are goals that I'm setting for myself, and maybe, who knows, I'll get every class to 100 this season, try to do a Nightmare tier 100 for every class. I was going to do that last season. That was kind of my goal, but I quickly gave up because I just got totally disenfranchised by kind of what was going on with all the updates and all the memes with season 2, or season 1 rather. So hopefully season 2 gonna give me that nice drive with all the new mechanics, because I don't know about you all, but I played the heck out of the beta and the beta and the beta again, all 3 betas. Then we also had the endgame beta way back when, which I did play and do a lot of things, testing a lot of builds. And then of course I've just been playing the heck out of preseason as well as season 1. So this was nice, a little bit of a break, and now we got a refresher with different mechanics, hopefully changing things up enough to keep all of us interested for a couple of weeks to a couple of months. That's the goal, and if they do that, I feel like season 2 may not be a success in terms of, is Diablo 4 a success at large, but their goal is pretty low right now, considering season 1 experienced kind of the biggest drop off in players that I've seen in a long time for a big game like this. So we're hoping, we're excited, hopefully. And I hope to see you in game if this is something that interests you. And who knows, maybe I'll see you all in old school RuneScape if this doesn't interest you. See you then.